This week's story comes from the world of global banking and specifically from Citigroup, one of the world's largest financial institutions. Citi's been undergoing a significant restructuring under its CEO, Jane Fraser. The goal is to simplify the bank, reduce complexity, and improve profitability. And as part of that process, the bank has been cutting thousands of roles across different parts of the organisation. Now, layoffs are not unusual in large corporate transformations, but they do raise an important cultural question. How do you maintain a positive organisational culture while simultaneously reducing headcount? Because if you get this wrong, the damage can go far beyond the employees who leave. It can affect the motivation, trust, and performance of the employees who stay. So what does good leadership look like in these moments? The first thing we need to look at is tone at the top. When an organisation restructures, employees are not only listening to the words of leaders, they're actually watching their behaviour. Do leaders communicate openly? Do they acknowledge the human impact of the decisions? Or do they hide behind corporate language about efficiencies and synergies? A credible tone at the top does three things. First, it explains why the change is necessary. Second, it treats people with dignity during the transition. And third, it reinforces that the organisation's values still apply even when decisions are difficult. The second element we need to look at is opportunity management. Restructuring is not just about reducing costs. It's also about creating the opportunity for the organisation to become more focused and effective. In Citi's case, the restructuring aims to simplify layers of management and streamline decision making. If this is done well, it can actually strengthen the organisation's culture. Why? Because employees in flatter organisations often have clearer accountability, clearer goals, and greater ownership over outcomes. But the opportunity only materialises if leaders are intentional about it. Which brings us to the third element, the cultural levers that shape behaviour inside an organisation. Let's start with lever number one, hiring. During a restructuring, organisations have a rare opportunity to rethink the type of leaders they bring in. Not just technical experts, but people whose judgment, character, and leadership style reinforce the culture the organisation wants to build. The second lever is training. When organisations change structure, employees suddenly face new expectations and responsibilities. Training is essential to help people adapt, not just technically, but also behaviourally. We then need to look at incentives and disincentives. If performance incentives remain purely financial, employees may interpret a restructuring as a signal that results matter more than values. But if incentives reward collaboration, integrity, and leadership behaviours, the culture can remain strong even during difficult transitions. And finally, we need to look at performance management. Employees watch closely how leaders behave in moments of change. Are decisions fair? Are expectations clear? Are leaders accountable for the culture they create? These signals shape how people interpret the restructuring. So the real cultural test in moments like this is not whether headcount falls, it is whether trust survives the process. Because organisations that manage restructuring well often emerge stronger, more focused, more disciplined, and with a clearer sense of purpose. But organisations that mishandle the cultural dimensions can damage morale and credibility for years. And that is why the Citigroup story this week is not just about banking, it's about leadership. Because the true test of culture is not how organisations behave when times are easy, it's how they behave when the decisions are difficult. Hope you enjoyed the week that was. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel.